What's up, guys? My name is Davidson Baker. I am the co-editor and blogger of GringoGossip.com. I'm here today with a very special guest, Ultimate Fighter 27, seasoned contestant lightweight, Luis Peña. And my first question for you, man, is I know that you go by Luis Peña, but is Antonio Luis Peña your full name?
No, it's Luis Antonio Peña.
Luis Antonio Peña. Man, sorry about that.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Who is it you that made the decision to kind of just go by Luis Peña? Do you think that would roll off the tongue a little bit easier for people?
I don't know. It's just I don't really want to make people say my full name.
Yeah, man. I totally feel it. A lot of people don't want to say Davidson either all the way through. I don't really know why. I saw your interview today with James Lynch. He's one of my favorites. Did you enjoy doing that interview with James?
Oh, dude, I always love talking to James. Him and all the rest of the guys at Flow Combat have been, 100% behind me ever since my first fight with them for Valor Fights back last year, actually.
Dude, yeah, James Lynch is one of those guys that really gets behind like all of the guys that he interviews. He's one of my favorites and really someone that I take inspiration from. I thought your guys' interview was awesome.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
So, I've noticed in the interview, and I noticed also in the octagon after your fights, you hold up this flag, and today on this sweatshirt you had a flag with like a coalition of a lot of other flags on it. Could I just ask what that represents and how that resembles you?
I mean, so for me, that's the flag of the world. Like that's pretty much as many world flags as you can get in one flag.
Yeah. And
for me, like, I'm just trying to spread a message of like togetherness and positivity.
Awesome. Because
I feel like, especially in this time in our country, we are so divided right now. And I feel like every outlet's trying to divide us.
Absolutely.
So if I can spread some sort of message to like bring people together, then that's what I'm going to do. I got the inspiration from Genki Sudo, who's one of the pioneers of MMA from back in the day, and it's just one of those things. I'm going to continue to fly the flag. I mean, also, I'm kind of so mixed that I don't really know which flag to fly myself, so it's like, might as well get them all.
Dude, I love it. I think that's awesome. I have to say that I agree with you on almost literally everything you said. And the mixed, man, because you were born in Italy and came over to the States and how do you identify yourself being someone from so many different backgrounds? And I think it's super unique and super awesome to have as many like different cultural aspects as you do.
I do too. It's one of the things that kind of makes me who I am. I've been able to relate to a lot of people throughout my life and learn from a lot.
Uh-oh. I think we lost him.
Black.
Yeah, no, there we go. I got you. You cut off right at learn from a lot of people. Okay.
So it's helped me, my multiculturalism has helped me really like connect and learn from a lot of people. But at the same time, I do kind of identify more with the black side I have because I am half black. I am 50% black.
Of course.
But, at the end of the day, I'm a citizen of the world, so I feel as though I can kind of get along with and talk to anybody.
That's awesome.
No matter the race, religion, creed, whatever it may be.
That's super awesome, man. I like that mentality a lot. So let's get into some questions I have about being in the house. Obviously, it was frustrating. I could understand being in the house, like after suffering an injury and having to go through the motions that guys that were still going to get a shot to win the prize for. But a couple of questions I have is, guys get tough, teammates or tight. I mean, guys get tight in the tough house, whether they're teammates or opponents every season. Besides Bryce Mitchell, because I know you mentioned that you and him have been, taking this journey from day one. Was there somebody specific that you got super tight with in the house this season?
Man, if there's two guys that I probably got the closest to in the house this season, it was, other than Bryce, it'd be Tyler Diamond, my fellow team PC member and actual one of my roommates, and Jose Martinez, my opponent. You know, before it was crazy. Before we ever got into the house, Jose and I were telling each other, we're going to see each other in the finals. We're going to see each other in the finals. Like, we thought, that was going to be the thing.
Yeah.
And then DC found out, hey, these guys are boys, so let's put them up against each other. So, and that's just how that came to be.
Wow.
So it's one of those crazy things that happens. And I don't know if you saw the Tough Talk I was on, but
yeah,
on that Tough Talk,
yep.
I kind of, just to show like our connection, the night before weigh-ins at like 4:30 in the morning, Jose and I, we're going through those weight cut pains, can't sleep.
Yeah.
We both wake up and just decide we're going to clean the house together. The whole, we just cleaned the whole living room, kitchen, everything together,
wow.
like it was nothing.
That's awesome. It's ironic too because Jose's daughter goes to school in Toledo, Ohio, which is where I live.
That's amazing. It's really, really, what a coincidence.
I didn't even know that either until like I saw like him say that on the show too, and I'm just like watching. I'm like, no way. I had no clue, because Toledo isn't really it's not really a big hub for MMA around here. So obviously he trains out of town.
I believe now he trains with Stipe at Strong Style.
Oh wow, okay, down in the.
He made a great move there. I'm really proud of him for that one.
That is a great move. They got some seriously amazing coaches over in Strong Style.
Oh, without a doubt. I know here soon we'll be seeing Jose, in the ranks, getting talked about. I'm hoping, maybe they give him a shot on the Contender Series or something. I think he and I had one of the best fights this season,
yep.
And he really does deserve an opportunity.
I think he'd be one of the guys that might be, because I actually just got done watching the Contender Series. I was going to ask you about it. What do you think are some of the different what do you think, obviously, other than being in a house like for so long and having to fight so many times in such a short window, what do you think would prepare a fighter better for the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter or the Contender Series?
That's a good question. Personally, I would have to say I think the Ultimate Fighter probably would prepare someone a little bit better for the UFC. And I don't necessarily mean by, fight standards.
Right.
So much as I'm talking about, like, the other side of things. The media, the fan recognition, like, all of that. Whereas I feel like on the Contender Series, because it is like a one-fight thing, it happens on one night, you instantly blow up and have no time to really like take it all in and figure it out. Whereas through the Ultimate Fighter, you have 12 weeks of blow up, 12 weeks to kind of go through all of this before you are in the UFC, and it kind of prepares you for that moment when you're in the UFC and all of a sudden you're blowing up even more than when you were on the show. Right.
That's a really good point. And like I said, I just got done watching the Contender Series tonight. I think it's one of the best ideas that the UFC has ever had. One thing that caught my eye, though, this past season in The Ultimate Fighter that I wanted to ask you about was when you were training for your fight with Jose, DC mentioned, it's one of my favorite quotes from this season, he mentioned the value of your dream opposite the value of his dream. And for someone that, like you and Jose, who you said, you got really tight with, what did that advice mean to you and how did it help you to focus?
For me, it really did help me kind of understand, like, look, this isn't about friends. This isn't about whether you like a guy or not. This is your career. This is your time. This is your opportunity, and you have to be the one to go out there and seize it if you want it.
That's a good point, man. And, having the mentality of looking at the goal and meeting somebody in the finals is the way you got to do it. So my next question is, when did you start to notice something was wrong with your foot?
Man, so after the fight, we're going through all the medical checks and everything, and my foot's kind of bothered me, but I was okay enough to, like, walk on it still. I didn't realize, what was really going on. So I remember the officials there, some of the producers, asked me, like, do you want to go to the ER? Like, how's your foot feeling? How are you feeling? I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. Because they told us the only way you can, like, if you get put out of the competition is by going to a doctor and them not clearing you. So I told them, like, nah, I'm fine. my foot was killing me, but I'm like, nah, I'm fine. I'll remedy the situation myself. So hopefully by Monday I'm back training. And, we fought on a Friday, and that goes through. So I'm kind of just going through the house Saturday and Sunday, trying to rest as much as possible. And I knew something was up Sunday morning when I woke up, and my foot was actually worse than it was the night before. I mean, I hate to kind of say this, but throughout my life, I've kind of always had like that Wolverine healing factor. I've had some injuries, and instantly I'm back ready to go. So when I knew there was something up when I woke up and things were worse.
Damn.
And then I didn't really get the confirmation until we went to Open Gym that Sunday, and I was getting worked on by the chiropractor there. And he told me, he was like, man, I feel some things moving around in your foot that I don't think should be moving around. And in the show, they kind of show me kind of break down from that, and you don't really get the explanation of why I started breaking down before I actually found out that my foot was broken.
Mm-hmm.
It was because, mentally, waking up that morning, I knew there was something wrong. When the chiropractor told me, like, dude, there's stuff moving around your foot that shouldn't be, I was like, it hit me. Like, I didn't know for sure, but I had a good feeling, like, man, if I go to the doctor, they're going to tell me I can't do this anymore. And it's at a point where, like, for my career, for my safety, I need to go to the doctor and get it checked out.
Yeah, man, and that actually that actually leads right into my last question about the house. What I noticed the most too is one thing that I definitely love from your personality was, the raw emotion, and, you took upon yourself to be a leader and get your team all together and inform them of what happened, and to let them know that you would be behind them. And I thought that was so awesome. But that being said, and I'm not an instigator in any type of way, but when you have guys also inside the house, like a Dulani Perry, that, maybe like tried to look like he was trying to get his 15 minutes of fame. I know you said that you guys are cool, but what did that look like to you? How does that how did those things differentiate?
Being, the Ultimate Fighter, I feel like the whole team aspect gives it a very different vibe than
Absolutely.
what you actually see in the house. As soon as teams were made, obviously lines were drawn, guys started kind of separating off.
Yep.
But when it came down to stuff like that, the whole house came together to support me, and I can't thank each and every one of those guys enough. Whether it was Jay Cuccinello always going, like, helping me get around the house and get ice for me, or Delani coming up to me and telling me, he's my biggest fan and trying to give me that support.
That's awesome.
Jose coming and being one of the first guys to come talk to me personally and tell me, just to be there for me.
That's awesome.
Everybody in the house, we all rallied around each other when these things were going on, despite the teams, despite the jerseys. It didn't matter.
That's awesome. I wasn't aware he came up to you and told you he was your biggest fan. That's super cool.
Yeah, and I can't lie, I'm the Fight God's biggest fan.
Wow.
That dude, everyone talks about him, everyone has their opinions on him, but at heart, Delani is a great guy.
Cool. I know you can't say anything about the finale, but I was actually hoping I could get to see him against the finale, because, man, putting him up against a guy like Tyler Diamond, Tyler Diamond impressed me a lot, man, in that fight.
Yeah, man, that was a tough matchup for him.
Super tough.
Obviously, Delani's a stand-up guy, and Tyler's a in-your-face wrestler.
Yes.
That was probably one of the best matchup you could have given Tyler to get to the next round.
Absolutely.
Kind of unscathed. But I'd love to see Delani in a fight with, a stand-up guy. I think him and Ricky Steele would make an amazing fight to put on the finale card.
Dude, I was literally just about to say that.
Or UFC Boise, which happens to be, Ricky's home state.
Ah, okay. That card is that's a nice card. I'm excited for that
Dude,
card.
I know. I'm actually, it's really cool. Not only am I training with DC and all of them, getting ready for that, but
Yep.
my boy Ivanov, the man that's making his UFC debut, former World Series of Fighting champion.
Yeah.
He's fighting Junior Dos Santos. He's actually here with us too. And I'm going to like him a lot too. He's a real funny guy. He's a really great guy.
Dude, yeah.
Love him.
Dude, yeah, I saw. I think that's a tough matchup for Junior. To be honest with you,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
The boys definitely going to bring some heat to that fight. I think a lot of people are counting him out.
No way.
But dude is a former world champion. He's going to show why he deserves to be in the UFC.
Oh, absolutely. If you watch one of his fights in the World Series of Fighting, you would understand that he's a stud. So my last few questions are about your fight. So I saw today in the interview with James, he asked a couple questions that I was going to ask, which is understandable. But James, what he asked when you got the call, I was going to ask when you got the call, but then you said that you got the email. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. Just so, like I said, I'm sitting there and, we were putting together that maybe this was going to happen, maybe not, with the guarantee that Dana had, I was confident that, Dana wasn't going to let me down, and he didn't. So it was like, I just really, I can't even explain the rush of emotions I felt. I'm just going through my normal day. I'm about to get something to eat with my boxing coach, Rose Sanchez, and just, checking my emails, just like a normal person, and all of a sudden you see, like, your life changes. You see UFC bout agreement in the subject of your email. You're like, oh my God.
That's so awesome.
I can't even explain how that felt, man. I just started screaming. I remember Rose like, what is going on? Is everything okay? And I couldn't even talk. I had to show him my phone. And then he just started screaming.
That's
we're
so
sitting
awesome.
there in Chick-fil-A in the Chick-fil-A parking lot just going nuts. And everyone's looking at us crazy. We're hugging, it was a great moment for me.
That's awesome. And the Chick-fil-A aspect of it makes it even better, because you can't have a better place with more friendly people around to have a hug with someone like that.
Love Chick-fil-A.
So good. Spicy chicken every time, though. Every time.
Oh, dude. See, I'm a breakfast guy. I love their chicken biscuits and chicken meat. That's my favorite.
Yeah, their breakfast is slept on, man. It's like their breakfast is like the Blagoy Ivanov of breakfast.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt.
So what? How do you feel about the matchup with Richie? Because obviously, Richie trains with some guy that goes by the name of McGregor. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him, but I was bummed that I couldn't get to see him fight, and what I thought was cool is you actually took to defending him on Twitter when a couple of people were a little skeptical of his cramps, which, is stupid of those people to do.
Man, it's not even me trying to do anything. Richie earned my respect in the house. He's one of those guys like Jay Cuccinello that stayed down, kept his head down, stayed to the grind the whole time, and just did everything the right way. So he earned a lot of respect in the house. And I'm the kind of person, like, I can't stand seeing people, come after someone, especially for something like that when you don't really know the situation.
Right.
But personally, in this matchup, in saying that I do have a lot of respect for Richie, I have a lot of respect for him as a man, him as a fighter, and his abilities. But I do feel like this is a favorable matchup for me. I feel like I do have the advantage striking. I feel like I have the advantage wrestling. I feel like I'm a little bit more athletic than him. This is going to be a war, man. As much as I like to say this is a favorable matchup and I have these advantages, it's going to be a war because we're two guys, I've seen him fight. We're two guys, we like to come to the middle, we like to bang, slug it out, and he's going to try and take me down, rip my legs off. I'm going to try and put his lights out. That's just the way it is. But I think that makes for something great for the fans.
I agree, man. And this fight has Fight of the Night written all over it, and I thought so. The second that it was announced on Tough Talk, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Last couple of things, and I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna ask you this last question, then get some fight picks for some upcoming fights in the UFC if you'd be willing to give me some of your predictions.
Oh, without a doubt, I more than well, I'd love to actually.
That'd be awesome.
No one ever asked me about stuff other than me. I like talking about other things going on in the MMA world.
Dude, yeah.
Especially like now that people actually respect my opinion on
Dude, yeah, no, absolutely. I wanna absolutely do that with this interview and every interview I would have in the future with getting guys in predictions on their fights. So that being said, before I ask you about some certain fights, amongst the rest of the lightweight fighters, and I don't want to say anything with jinx involved, but let's just say you get your hand raised that night, or even lose a close fight and you get another opportunity. Is there anyone else on that lightweight roster in the house that you think you'd want to fight like in the future, or who you think you'd have the best opportunity to match up with?
I mean, if I'm being quite honest, it doesn't matter.
Cool.
Any one of them. Any one of them.
Cool.
Because in my eyes, I was going to win that tournament before I broke my foot.
Yeah.
So it does not matter to me if they want to put me up against any one of those guys from the house.
Cool.
I'll do it. I'll take the fight.
Sweet. Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. Coming into the season, my two favorites out of your guys' weight classes were you and Giannetti.
I agree. I think Joe has a very strong chance of making it to the finale and making it to hopefully a UFC contract. But that's all up to be said. He's got to get through Alon first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, all right, let's. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I got 7 fights for you. All right, you can go quick, bang, bang. I need a round, a winner, and a method. All right.
All right.
So Saturday morning in Singapore, main event: Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Leon Edwards.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I have to go Cowboy by unanimous decision.
Cool. I gotta go with Leon Edwards. Second round TKO. I think that when guys get in Cowboy's head a little bit, he tends to falter. But dude, Cowboys looked incredible against Yancey.
I think Cowboys had a bit of a slump lately, and he's the kind of guy that when he gets on those slumps, he comes back even harder.
100%.
So I think we're gonna see the Cowboy, the killer Cowboy that he's known to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. So on your card, main event, number 8 ranked middleweight Brad Tavares takes on really, really one of my favorite personalities in the UFC, Israel Adesanya. How do you see that ending?
Oh man, I gotta go with Stylebender all day.
Let's go.
Without a doubt, my favorite active fighter right now.
Dude, me too.
Me too. For me, it's really awesome to be able to fight on the same card as him because people tell me all the time, you and him have such a similar style.
Yeah.
And to be compared to someone like that, a Glory, former Glory kickboxer, current undefeated, and just one of the most exciting fighters in the middleweight division right now.
Dude,
it's an honor to even be in the same breath as him. So, of course, I'm going to have to go with my biased opinion on Israel Adesanya.
Dude, yeah, I'd have to agree with you, man. I think he's going to get him out of there within 3 rounds as well. He's my favorite active fighter at fighter too, man. I love watching him fight.
Dude, he's one of the dudes that inspires me to just go out there and throw.
Hell yeah. All right, so I'm given, your ties with DC and Stipe, I'm not going to ask you about your prediction for the fight, but I will ask you about the co-main event. How do you see Max Holloway and Brian Ortega shaking out for the featherweight title?
That's probably the toughest pick I think to make.
I know, it's so tough.
The current card, the current UFC cards coming up. Max Holloway is he's on fire right now. I personally think it's the blessed era, and I think he's going to show why he's the champion and why Ortega is going to need a little bit more time before he can really challenge him.
Absolutely.
Not to say that Ortega isn't a great fighter in his own right, hasn't deserved this shot, hasn't earned his shot at the title, but I believe it is the blessed era.
I have an interesting prediction on how it's going to shake out. I think Ortega is going to snag his neck and win by submission in round 2, but I think they're going to rematch, and Holloway is going to take his belt back in the rematch.
So it's an interesting prediction.
Yeah.
Man. Personally,
no, you're good.
Okay, that's an interesting prediction, man. But personally, I gotta disagree. I think
totally cool.
I think it'll be a close fight that'll probably be indicative of a rematch. But I have to say, I think Holloway takes it in a unanimous decision. or a 5th-round TKO.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, that's such a tough fight to pick. It's such a great fight. I can't wait for it.
Such a great fight.
Oh, yeah.
Such an insanely hard fight to pick, man.
Oh, yeah.
That whole card is just like a gift from the UFC to the fans.
I know. Like, just Gokhan Saki and Khalil Roundtree Jr. being on the main card is awesome, too. Man,
that's the Turkish Tyson. I can't wait. I love watching Gokhan fight.
Yeah, man. My best friend is actually getting married that night. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, and I'm gonna be in the wedding. So I'm gonna have to, buy the pay-per-view and turn off all notifications on my phone.
Yeah, seriously.
So up next, the co-main event, and I'm glad that you mentioned Blagoy. So I mean, I feel like I already know the answer to that. But the co-main event for UFC Boise, how do you feel about James Vick and Paul Felder?
Ooh, that's a great fight, man. James Vick and Paul Felder. Personally, I think James Vick is on a roll, man. He's tough. He's hard to beat. He's the only lightweight that's as tall as I am.
Yeah.
He cuts down from like 195, 200. He's a big guy. He's gonna be tough to beat. I have to go with James Vick in this one, mainly because gotta stick with the long guy, the strong guy.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you, man. I think he's gonna get it done. I don't think he's gonna finish Paul, but I think he will get the nod by decision.
Without a doubt, Paul Felder is a tough guy. He's hard to take out.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, not taking anything away from Felder. I think it's Vick's time right now.
Yeah, I agree. Let's hope that somebody in the top 10 agrees to fight him afterwards.
Oh, without a doubt.
So now we move forward to, I think, I said this on my ESPN UFC Deal podcast. I think this is going to be like one of the very last cards we see on Fox have any type of role behind it. That card in Calgary looks nice. How do you see Alvarez and Poirier 2 playing out?
It's a tough fight. I've had the pleasure of training with Dustin a couple times down in Miami.
Wow. Okay.
He's a tough dude. Eddie Alvarez is an insanely tough guy. His fight with Justin Gaethje was just amazing.
I was there,
watch, man.
I was there.
That's one of those fights that there's just gonna be nothing but violence from bell to bell.
Yep.
Having trained with Poirier and watching, having seen the way the first fight was going, I have to think that I think he gets the nod this time. I think he's going to go out there and not, nothing against Alvarez. I think he goes out there and gets the finish.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's a super tough fight for me to pick. To be honest with you, I've picked just about I have a lot of fights up to that point, and I still have not decided who I'm going to go with on that fight.
I know that's one of those that's just like Holloway and Ortega, man. That's a toss-up. Both guys have very similar styles,
Yep.
And both guys know what they're going to come out and do. They're going to come out there and throw hands. It's going to be a violent tornado of just technique out there, and I can't wait. Personally, it's one of those fights, like, it's hard to make a pick just because I like both guys so much.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see the fight.
So now co-main event, Jeremy Stephens and Jose Aldo. Aldo back-to-back losses to Blessed, and Jeremy Stephens looks like a different breed of killer as of late.
Man, dude, all these fights coming up are just amazing.
I know.
I'll have to say I can't take anything away from Stephens. He's been doing some great things.
Yep.
As much as I really, really want to see Jose Aldo come back and kind of get some redemption, because I've always been a huge fan of his. I think Jeremy Stephens might get the finish in this one.
I agree.
I think his hands, man, he has been on a tear lately, and he's one of those guys that if you let him touch your chin, you're gonna go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Aldo's chin is suspect.
No.
But it's one of those things where, like, when guys start getting momentum around them, it's hard to break that momentum.
Absolutely.
And I think Jeremy Stephens has that momentum right now, where Aldo's kind of in a spot where it's like do or die for him.
Yeah. And on top of that, what I think is going to be an interesting aspect of it is Aldo's going to be in a 3-round fight for the first time in, oh my God, I don't even know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time he was in a 3-round fight.
I can't remember. I can't remember the last time that man's been in a 3-round fight.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Be interesting to see what sort of pace he brings to the table then. Just to see if, like, maybe he picks it up. Maybe he comes out there and just starts going to work as soon as possible because he knows he has the cardio to be able to go for 5.
Yeah, no, 100%. And my last one, I wanted to make sure I gave you tough picks for all of them, and this one is one of the toughest of the lot. On the night of my 22nd birthday, August 4th, is UFC 227, and there is a very, very heated rematch between TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt. How do you see that one going?
Oh, man. I love you, Tyler. You know, I know he's a Team Alpha Male guy, but I think Dillashaw keeps it, man. He's one of the best fighters at 135 I think I've ever seen.
He's crazy.
You know, not only that, but his journey is also extremely inspiring to me. To go from that knockout loss to Dodson in his season of TUF and kind of have to completely work his way up the ladder and completely reinvent himself to beat, you know, the guy that was considered the absolute best that couldn't be beaten in hidden morale. It's inspiring, you know. I think, especially after the way the first fight went, I'm not saying that Dillashaw is in Cody's head. You know, no. Cody is a very mentally strong fighter, but I think they're both going to go back and make the adjustments to try to get the win. But I think TJ's adjustments are going to be a little bit better, and I think you know, working with Dwayne, he's hard to beat, man. It's hard to pick against him.
Yeah, man, I agree. You know, you took pretty much everything that right out of my mouth. I think everything that you said is on point about it. Dillashaw would probably get the win, in my opinion, as well for that reason. So, hey, man, this has been a fan.
I also have to say, I feel like he's not to take anything away from Cody and his ability, but I think if need be, I think Dillashaw is a little bit more well-rounded and can take the fight just about anywhere.
Sweet, man. Well, hey, this has been an awesome interview, and I appreciate the opportunity to get this with you a lot, man. If you guys watching this want to know the day that he is going to fight next, it is July 6th on the prelims, I believe, of the Ultimate Fighter 27 finale in Las Vegas. That's at the Palms Resort, right? The theater.
Yes, sir. It'll be at the Pearl at the Palms Theater. I think the fights start at like 5 p.m. or 3 p.m.
Yep.
Our time.
And that card
on the West Coast.
And that card's not finalized yet, obviously, with the Ultimate Fighter still being needed to shake out. One thing is for sure, you can catch this man fight Richie Smullen on that card at the finale, and I can't wait. It's going to be awesome, man. Well, you got anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you so much, man. I just want to give a big shout out to my training partners and coaches at St. Charles MMA and Arnold Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back home in St. Louis, as well as everyone out here at American Kickboxing Academy that has taken me in and treated me like family since I've been here. Also, got to give a huge shout out to my sponsors, Koi CBD, Fuji BJJ, Avila's Translations LLC, and one of my newest sponsors today, Warrior and Larea Clothing Brand.
Sweet.
And Iron Jaw Custom Mouth Guards.
Cool.
Could not do it without those guys' support, 100%.
Dude, I was gonna ask you about CBD too, but I scratched it from my thing. That's awesome. I'm glad that you got them sponsoring you up. CBD is awesome.
Thank you, man. I really do think CBD is going to be the way of the future when it comes to recovery in just about any and all sports.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot for your time, man. I'm going to sign off on the MMA Bottom Line. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. We're done recording.